Obviously, there's a big discussion led by the Taoiseach on our preparations for Brexit. The central case scenario which we're preparing for is one in which there is an agreement in October, that there is a transition period running until the end of 2020, and that there is a backstop assuring us that there will be no hard border between Northern Ireland and Ireland. So that's the central case scenario that we're planning for. But of course, beyond that, we have to, or behind that, if you like, we do have to prepare for other scenarios like a no-deal Brexit. But the central case scenario that we're preparing for is that the United Kingdom will leave the European Union next March. There will be a transition period. There won't be a hard border, and there will be a free trade agreement between Britain and the European Union, but not membership of the customs union or the single market. So obviously that does require changes in the rules of trade between Britain and Ireland, which we need to prepare for. We've done a lot of preparation already. The public finances are in good order, and we're setting up a rainy day fund. I know some people are telling us we shouldn't set up a rainy day fund and that we shouldn't bother balancing the books. If we do run into trouble over the next couple of years, it will be because of Brexit, and that's why it makes sense to have a rainy day fund. It makes sense to balance the books so that if the proverbial does hit the fan, that we won't find ourselves as exposed as we were 10 years ago, that we will have a rainy day fund to draw on, and that the public finances will be in order, so we won't have to do the kind of things that were done 10 years ago, raising taxes, cutting pay, cutting spending. We'll be in a much better place to deal with any shock that may arise, and an obvious place from which that shock could arise would be a disorderly Brexit. So we're right to balance the books and set up that rainy day fund. We've also increased resources for our diplomats overseas, for Board BIA, opening up new markets around the world for our farmers. 450 million has been set aside for low interest loans for business and the agri-food sector to allow them to make preparations for Brexit. The Be Prepared grants are available through EI, but we do think that with Brexit now 8 months away, and growing uncertainty about whether it'll be possible to get a withdrawal agreement through Westminster, that we do need to change the gear and up our preparations when it comes to Brexit. So that's going to involve communicating with the public and with industry what we're doing, and also will mean preparations beginning now in our ports, our airports. Our ports and airports rather, so that includes places like Dublin Port, Dublin Airport, Ross Airport, Shannon, preparing for a change in the rules of trade, east-west, a change in the rules of trade between Britain and Ireland in January 2021. And what that involves, obviously, is preparing for and hiring veterinary inspectors to carry out sanitary and phytosanitary checks on agricultural products and plant-based products coming in from Britain. And also customs inspectors. So we estimate that the number of people we'll have to hire over the course of the next year is about 1,000 people, and that's customs and veterinary inspectors to prepare our ports and airports for Brexit. And obviously the space is there, so it is doable, and we'll have to start advertising for that and explaining that to people over the next couple of months, starting over the summer period. In the unlikely event of a no-deal hard Brexit next March, of course it won't be possible to have 1,000 people in place for then, but we will make contingency arrangements to do whatever needs to be done in the unlikely event that that should arise. But I think other countries will find themselves in a similar position as well. So happy to take any questions.
Gavin Riley.
Thanks, Taoiseach.